Good morning. I am Joseph Briones, and I am from the Corpus Christi District. We have an update for you guys on the Harbor Bridge project today. I know you have heard about the Harbor Bridge project for several years now through environmental clearance, through schematic design, through procurement. Well, we're here to let you know we are actually under construction. So it's really exciting. It's exciting for our city, and it's exciting for our region. Through this presentation, we're going to touch on the background, just lightly on the background of the project, the need of the project, talk about the highlights, which is a really neat part, and then get into the construction update. So our needs and objectives. Our bridge was built in 1959. It is a completely steel structure, and it is located over saltwater. It's adjacent to a highly industrial area, the Port of Corpus Christi, which is really concentrated with oil and gas refineries. It has some geometric constraints as well. There's some really sharp curves. You can see on this bottom picture, we recently had an oil tanker carrying crude not quite make that curve and caught fire on our curve there. So those will be replaced with much safer curves. And then also 181-37 is a major evacuation route for our area. So the new bridge will accomplish that for us. Here is a picture of our existing bridge, and as you can see, it really makes the skyline of Corpus Christi. It's really an icon of the community. It appears on the city seal. It's on business cards. It's in restaurants, things like that. So our goal was, how do we recreate that? How do we get the community buy-in? How do we maintain and enhance the connectivity that the current bridge offered to the community? Here's our scope. It is a design-build project with a 25-year O&M maintenance, so it's really a comprehensive development agreement. It's a CDA, and it's not really just a bridge. If you look at what we're doing here, we're also rebuilding a major interchange. The interchange, the developer has finally put numbers to it. The interchange and conventional road work makes up 52% of the project. So the majority of the project really isn't just the bridge. That's just the pretty part that we like to talk about. And then, of course, improve safety. So the developer is currently taking over operation and maintenance of the corridor. That helps us free up some of our maintenance guys. They're really happy that we've done that. DBI is the subcontractor that has taken over the corridor, and they've done a really good job. We're really happy with what they've done. There is a 25-year operation and maintenance after the construction of the project. They will be responsible for, everything that's listed there. There's going to be performance criteria. There will be handback requirements, and somebody will probably talk to you about those in 2046. Hopefully it won't be me. And then, of course, TxDOT can't deliver a project like this on our own. Our partner in this endeavor is Flatiron Dragados. They are composed of Flatiron Constructors and Dragados USA. The main bridge engineer is FIG Bridge Engineers. They bring a lot of innovation and they bring a lot of energy to the project, so we're really excited to have them on board. So where are we? The RFQ was issued back in 2014. The CDA was executed in late 2015, and we are in construction now, and we are still on schedule to deliver the project, which is opening of the new bridge in 2020, demolition of the old bridge in 2021, and then live through the O&M period through 2046. So how is the project managed? We are managed out of the district office. Chris Carone is our district engineer. He is our alternative delivery manager. Valente Olivares is our deputy district engineer, but he also serves as the project manager on the project. I'm the deputy project engineer. And then we have Christopher Amy, who is our environmental manager. He manages the day-to-day engineering, environmental aspects of the project. He's also responsible for helping the developer get through any reevaluations that may be necessary. And then he also manages, some of you may be aware, we have a voluntary relocation program as part of this project. It's running in parallel with the construction project. It's not a part of the construction project. So Chris manages that for us as well, and that's really a voluntary. We've got two communities adjacent to the project, and we are helping them move out of the area if they volunteer to do so. Let me go back. I also want to say that the divisions really help us out. They act as SMEs for us, subject matter experts. They help us with our reviews. They really do a good job of offering the district a lot of support. And then also for the day-to-day operations, we have a GEC, a general engineering consultant, that's HNTB, and they're down there with us every day working through the project as well. Here's just a quick snapshot of the developer's organization chart. It looks like any other construction management system. There's a lot of subs, so there's a lot of managers on their end. One thing that you can be sure of with any mega project is mega paperwork. So we use SharePoint to manage that. SharePoint is our central document control center. It handles design submittals. It handles all other kinds of submittals, such as insurance, DBE things. It assigns workflows and reviews. It sets deadlines, and it's the official document control of the project. The developer uses Aconex. Aconex then uploads to SharePoint. This is their internal structure. And then for our field guys, we have the software called FieldWire. FieldWire has all the construction documents and has real-time access for the field personnel. So when they go to the work site, they can look at a footing and they can be sure that they're looking at the right document and the latest construction documents. So let's get into the contract a little bit and talk about some tools that we have. We've talked about this in the past, non-compliance events. It's a unique tool that we have. The Harbor Bridge project is the first to use it in construction. It's a really administrative tool to achieve contract compliance. And we really use it for all the small things that may or may not be as important to the developer as they are to us, such as DBE paperwork, insurance paperwork. And what it is we assess points based on non-compliance, and the points add up. Each point is worth $6,000. Once they accrue to 10 points, they're assessed on the next draw or estimate, and they get hit with a $60,000 kind of LD. Do want to say we do not use it as punishment for the developers at all. The PM has ultimate discretion on how the tool is utilized, but we've had really good success getting a lot of paperwork stuff cleaned up utilizing this tool. Design reviews. What do we do internally to handle our design reviews? This is a really busy slide, but what happens is design submittals are submitted through SharePoint. They're reviewed by our SMEs, by our division folks, and then it generates official comments. Lately, what we've been trying to do is get away from this form. We participate in a lot of over-the-shoulder workshops, over-the-shoulder meetings with the developer, where we sit with them face-to-face. We put everything out on the table, and we try to get design submittals before they're officially submitted, substantially complete and substantially in line with the technical provisions, so there's not this iteration back and forth of design submittals. This really cuts down on the time that it takes for a design submittal to be approved, and ultimately will hopefully result in a shorter project duration. Right now, we are averaging 6.6 days on returning a design submittal. Per contract, we're allowed 14 days for that review, so we're about half. And moving forward through collaboration with the developer, we're looking to reduce that even further. So to get to construction, the developer really has two avenues. He's got an early start of construction avenue, which is for early activities, foundation designs, things that we're comfortable with their design assumptions and don't really have a high risk to get out there and build kind of early. The second mode to get to construction is what we call our certificate of compliance. With a certificate of compliance, we're really comfortable that we have a true complete design, including calculations, right-of-ways cleared, utilities are cleared, things like that. With a certificate of compliance, TxDOT provides a written concurrence that we have looked at the design and we concur that it is substantially, ready to go. That doesn't remove any of the risk from the developer. Our risk people are very clear to say that, so I have to say that here. But it does give the developer a little bit more confidence with their designs moving forward. Another part of this project is we gave public information. We made public information a part of the contract, a part of the developer's responsibilities. The developer is responsible for interacting with customer groups, media relations, social media, but mainly to maintain and build on TxDOT's reputation in the area. We really pride ourselves on our responsiveness to the public, to the media, and so that's something that we take big pride in and we really pay attention to moving forward. Here's our public information officer. We actually had a media briefing last week. We brought all the local media in to our warehouse. We gave them a safety briefing. We gave them media passes. We gave them PPE so that they know when they can come on the project. This is what you need to do. They can be safe, and they know who to go to for the correct information. We thought it's very important to get the media on our team to see what we do and have those open lines of communication, because misinformation gets out to the media very quickly, and we want to be able to dispel any of that information before it gets released to the public. So we're doing a really big outreach with our media folks. Here's just a snapshot of some of the stakeholders that we deal with in the area. The New Harbor Bridge really connects two different towns. It connects the city of Corpus Christi to the city of Portland and two different counties as well, along with the Port of Corpus Christi, who has a ton of customer groups. So there's really a lot of people that we deal with and that we need to keep informed as the project moves forward. Traffic advisories. Everybody knows that traffic control, maintenance of traffic is probably the messiest part of the project and the most visible to the public. They really don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. They just know I was delayed on my way to work or to pick up my kids from school. So we are releasing these traffic advisories as we begin to impact our streets or our highways, and we get the notices out to conventional media, social media, and we just try to get the message out there to as many people as possible. So now some interesting things that we like to brag about our bridge. Our main span spans the entire waterway of the ship channel. It is 1,661 feet long. That is about 5.5 football fields. Once complete, it will be the longest concrete segmental cable-stayed bridge in North America. Additionally, our main span towers, you can see, they sky to 538 feet. They are about 125 foot taller than the tallest structure in Corpus Christi, and they will be the tallest structures in Texas south of San Antonio. So those are some things we like to brag about. Another thing that the developer brought to the table with this project is a 170-year design life for the main span structure. So it's been really neat trying to get the design of how we're going to protect this bridge for their design of 170 years. Here's a scale of what we're dealing with here. Our existing bridge is shown on the bottom. The new bridge is shown behind it, or what you can see is the old bridge will nearly fit under the new bridge. That's not water there. We're going to get our graphic artist to update that. So no, we're not in the water the whole way. The foundations are out of the water. Here's just an artist's rendition of our selected segment units. I mentioned FIG earlier. You know, they really designed some sleek, elegant bridges here. The cable stays run down the middle. So this kind of gives you an idea of how neat this project is. Another important thing, important to Christopher Amy, our environmental manager, is sustainability. How can we reduce our footprint, our carbon footprint, while we move forward with the project? Well, partnering with Federal Highways, the developer has committed to a platinum rating, an Invest Platinum rating, during design and construction and operation and maintenance. So what we look for as we move forward is any opportunity we can do to be more environmental friendly and to reduce our impact. So we will be monitoring going forward with that and probably be providing updates every year as we move forward to achieving the platinum rating. So aesthetic components. As I mentioned earlier, the old bridge is a really icon of the community. The community has a lot of pride in that, so we said we need to involve the community, have them get some ownership and some buy-in into the new project. So what we did is we had 2 design charrettes where we invited the general public to come comment on the aesthetic proposals, on the landscaping, and really gave them a vote on what they'd like to see. So through those design charrettes, they were able to vote, and we came out with concepts that we will be moving forward with. What we also heard through those design charrettes is connectivity. How do we connect communities, across the bridge, under the bridge? And we have a shared use path that I'll talk about here in a second. But out of that, we came up with, we have a shared use path that goes across the bridge. And they said we need some connection points at the north and south. So here's a rendering of what we're planning to do at the north. The bridge is removed. This is under the bridge. The bridge is removed so you can see what we're doing. We plan on building a parking lot, an ADA accessible pathway to our shared use path so that everyone will have a place to access our facility and really encourage people to come look at our bridge. Here's just another rendering. It's got some sustainability things here, which is a recycled concrete, things like that. And then to the south side we have a little more real estate, a little more room than we do on our north side, which is our North Beach area. So for the south side, this plaza concept was talked about, and then of course a trailhead for the shared use path as well. We're still working on the south side to really optimize that design to make it really user-friendly and to make it as attractive as possible. Our shared use path. This is a 10-foot wide path that traverses the entire bridge. It has pedestrian fence on one side, and then it has positive barrier to protect the pedestrians from the public, or from the traveling public on the other side. It will run 2.4 miles one way, so if you make that trip, it'll be a 4.8 mile round trip. But there will be a belvedere in the middle for you to rest your legs if you need to. The belvedere in the middle is really a lookout. Here's another look at it, and it gives you a really view of the bay. It gives you a good view of the south side, or the downtown's attractions, which are the USS Lexington, the Texas State Aquarium. You'll be able to stand up there and watch all the shrimp boats working, so it's going to be a really, really neat thing once it's built. And then, of course, the landscaping. What we heard from the community was they wanted something that was natural to the area. They didn't want anything, fancy that didn't mimic our natural beauty in South Texas. So that's what we plan on doing, moving forward with the landscaping. The first question we always get when we go out to the community members in Corpus Christi is, will there be lights on the bridge? Our current bridge has lights on it. It dances through the night sky. It's really, really neat. So our answer is yes. It will have LED lights throughout the structure, under the structure. The programming on the lights will allow us to have near limitless combinations. It can be customized for events. It can be customized for holidays. So we're really excited about that. Here is an artist rendering of our approach structures. The approach structures match the main span segments. So what this does is, again, FIG brought this to the table. It's really sleek. It's really elegant. It provides continuous visual lines and planes, and it's just a really sharp looking bridge. Here's a rendition of the bridge from Whataburger Field. We have a team, farm team from the Astros, the Corpus Christi Hooks, and they have a really nice field down there. The old bridge was where you could see it from left field. Now you'll be able to see the new bridge from right field. So hopefully season ticket holders didn't commit too long to seeing the bridge behind them. So construction, as I promised, yes, we have started, and yes, we're really excited, and it's really getting busy down in Corpus Christi. In addition to our construction sites, the developer has 4 sites that we work out of. We have a segment yard in Robstown, which is about 20 miles to the, it's probably about 15 miles to the west of us. We have a concrete batch plant towards the center of Corpus Christi, and then we have a downtown office, and then we have a field office near our port that doubles as a warehouse as well. So our concrete batch plant, as I mentioned, the project is 52% conventional roadway. So that's going to be a lot of conventional bridges. It's going to be a lot of sidewalks, a lot of curb and gutter. And so the current production capacity in the area just wasn't there. So the developer brought in their own batch plant. So they will be batching their own concrete in-house out of this batch plant and deliver it to the project as necessary. The Robstown Casting Yard. This is where most of the activity is happening right now. You saw the approach structures and the main span structures. To get those segments, or to get those structures up, they are going to have to cast nearly 2,600 segments. These segments range in weight from 86 to 182 tons. Put that in perspective, we were thinking about this the other day in our public information meeting, and we were thinking, well, what does a segment weigh? And the thing that we found that was very close was a blue whale. So one of these segments weighs about as much as a blue whale. So not only is it a really sleek and elegant bridge, it's a really heavy bridge. The Robstown Casting Yard is 64 acres. More than half of it will be utilized for storage of these segments. They are match casting these segments. So as they're produced, they cast a segment, they move it forward after it dries, and they cast the next segment right next to it and use the segment that was cast before it as a form. What this does is it ensures that we have connection compatibility between the two segments. And of course, they put a bond breaker so that it doesn't stick, they don't stick to each other. Ultimately, the developer will have 7 casting beds producing 1 segment a day. So this is their plan. We have 3 operational right now. What you see here is their survey towers. There's some H piles that are driven into the ground, and then a concrete column is cast around them, and it holds their survey gear on top, and that's for their geometric control of these segments, so they can adjust if they make any mistakes moving forward with the segments. This is a picture of the plywood platform, which we call our rebar jig. The rebar is completely tied away from our molds in these platforms, and then it is literally picked up and flown into the mold. So this is really neat to see, and you can see the people here. I mean, they're really tiny compared to the structures that we're dealing with. This is just a picture of our folks getting ready to place some concrete in one of the segments. And it's not just rebar. You can see there's some post-tensioning ducts there. So there's a lot of post-tensioning that goes into these segments as well. So while it looks like a big block of concrete, there's really a lot of sophisticated work that goes into these things. Here's just another picture of our segment production line. These segments have been extracted from their molds. And this is a really something that caught our eye. We were visiting the precast yard, and we saw this thing get delivered, and it came in about 1,000 little pieces, and it looked like somebody had literally gotten a Lego box and poured it out, but it was gigantic. The next week we show up, and it's put together, and we're just thinking big kids with big Legos, and that's basically what this is. You can see there is no one in that cab. The guy literally has a remote control, and he's driving this thing around the yard with a remote control. So those gamers out there, those kids at heart, we still get to have fun, even though we're building a billion-dollar project. Pile driving, 52% of the project is conventional, so we have a lot of conventional bridges to build. So we have a lot of pile to drive. So for the next 3 or 4 years, if you go into Corpus Christi, you'll just probably feel the ground thumping while you're there. So most of the structures are pile-driven foundations. We have a couple because of some geometric constraints, because of some property, adjacent property that we have to do some drill shaft foundations. But for the most part, we're driving a lot of pile. We are also placing a lot of cofferdams, and this work is ongoing as well. Being on the coast, in some of these locations, we hit the water table at 1 to 2 foot below our grade. So for our foundations, for our pile caps, we're using a lot of cofferdams. The last major milestone that I want to talk about in construction is our main pier drill shafts. These pictures really don't do it justice. If you guys get some time to come visit us in Corpus Christi, we'd like you to come see these things. They are 10 foot in diameter. I mean, they are just gigantic holes in the ground. They are 210 foot deep, and they take 650 cubic yards of concrete. The last concrete pour that we had took us about 12 hours to place all the concrete. So it's a huge production. This picture that you see here on the far left, that is a rebar cage being stood up. We were out there when they were standing that cage up, and you look at the top of the crane, and the rebar cage extends to the top of the crane, and you just say, wow, that's really, really big. And the guy next to us nudges us and says, that's only half the cage. So, these structures are really, really big. And, in Corpus Christi, a district like, we're really proud and fortunate to have a project like this, to be in a project involved like this, and to help deliver it, for TxDOT and for the state of Texas. So for that, we thank everyone involved with the project for this opportunity. That's all I have talking-wise. There's my contact information. This, I believe, you'll be able to pull online later. But I'll take questions and comments while this plays in the background. Yes, sir. Not on this structure. The structure has been modeled in the wind tunnels as designed, so there will not be, with this structure, with this project, we don't foresee any expansion opportunities. Not saying that in the future it can't be retrofitted for something, but it's not part of this project. Yes, sir. 2020 for the new bridge to be open. We got a lot of work to do. Yes, sir. The port had a lot of input in the beginning of the project through procurement and that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, did the port have input in the project and the economic impact that it's going to have to them? And yes, they are a partner in the project, so they did have input through the development of the schematic and the ultimate design. Yes, sir. The question was, does the 2020 date include the interchange? And yes, it does. There is, the question was there any communications run through the bridge? There's a whole section in the technical provisions for ITS requirements, and there will be communications across the bridge for the state ITS infrastructure, yes. All right, thank y'all.